This is Passion Projects, the podcast where I dive into the journeys of people who've turned what they love into what they do. Each week, I sit down with creative entrepreneurs, change makers, and purpose driven storytellers to explore the wins, pivots, and passion that fuel their work and hopefully inspire something in you too. So, I turned vegan about 8 years ago, and I remember how hard it was at times to find and make tasty recipes. And when I went out, the menu didn't have many options for me besides a plain old salad. But during the pandemic is when I discovered my next guest. And let me tell you, she elevated my cuisine from bland to flavorful. Meet Jessica, a home chef and the heart behind Jessica in the Kitchen, a vibrant plant based food blog that's been inspiring home cooks for over 13 years. She's a wife, a new mom, and a woman who deeply loves food, so much so she dreamt about it. What started as a personal journey to feel better through food turned into a full blown platform with over 600 recipes, stunning visuals, and practical guides to make vegan cuisine feel joyful and attainable. In this episode, Jessica shares how going vegetarian and later vegan transformed her health and life, how she built a business rooted in love and simplicity, and why quick, wholesome meals have been her love language as a mom and creator. So, without further ado, let's get into it. My guest, I'm so honored to have Jessica in the Kitchen joining me here on Passion Projects. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Of course. So, I want to start off by saying I discovered you in 2020, and I was already plant-based or had began my plant-based journey. I was vegetarian my whole life, and then from when I came to Miami, began eating plant-based foods.
Yeah.
But you elevated my lifestyle and
Aw.
took it to a new level. And I like the ways that you would show us how to make tofu.
Yeah.
And by far, one of my favorites was the 5-minute microwave brownie.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
have that, Jessica, I kid you not, every day. After work, that was my go-to, my staple.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Those are some of my favorites as well, especially like the tofu magic. But yeah, the mug cakes and the mug brownies, they've kept me like surviving.
Me too. I absolutely love them. Oh, that makes me so happy. Which brings me to my first question. What first sparked your love for cooking?
Yeah, I think I kind of like just grew up seeing it. My mom cooked a lot, my grandma cooked a lot. My grandma actually used to cater, I guess like long, long ago. But I kind of feel like it was just always around me. And so I was just like naturally like curious as well, about cooking, baking as well. So yeah, it was just kind of like always around me and kind of always wanted to like experiment in the kitchen from a young age, but like more so like when I was a teenager, basically.
Were there any staple dishes that you thoroughly enjoyed and you wanted to master watching your parents?
It's a good question. I feel like Jamaican food in general, like
Mm.
Jamaican breakfast items, like dinner items, also like ackee. I mean, at the time, of course, it was ackee and saltfish, but like, after becoming vegan, like what's a good saltfish replacement for this and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. But yeah, just like recipes I saw in general. I used to really love Italian food a lot. So I did a lot of like Italian dishes as well.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So what were your favorites when it came to Italian?
Oh, it's a good question. Like Parmesan and anything. Arancini, love that as well. Yeah. And like just the general like pastas, like tomato dishes in general as well. Still a very big tomato fan, but like anything that kind of had that in there basically.
I love that. So
Yeah.
then when did you transition from eating meat, I would say, then to vegetarian, and then from vegetarian to becoming vegan?
Yeah. So I transitioned to vegetarian. I want to say I think it was in 2014, like officially, but like
Mhm.
it's funny because looking back on my site, I'm like, oh, you're kind of like posting all the vegetarian stuff. I feel like we know like internally sometimes before we realize, you know what I mean? And then I became vegan in 2018 and I had originally stopped eating meat. So I haven't had like pork or beef or anything like that for a long time. I have like an intolerance to it anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like mainly like chicken and seafood. And it sounds a little crazy, but like literally one day I went to the kitchen and it was literally like an invisible force field, like stopping me and saying, I don't really want to eat this today, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I was
Mhm.
like, whoa, that was wild. But like, who am I not to listen, to that? Yeah. And I don't recommend people go cold turkey, but I did. So I literally like went immediately cold turkey, like switching straight to vegetarian. But I feel like it was for me like the best for my body, you know what I mean? And like a lot of stuff that I was going through at the time started to go away because of that.
Mhm.
And then I eventually became vegetarian in 2018 after my husband, he wanted to do like a vegetarian month basically, which shocked me because he was like grilling king. But I was like, sure, like let's go, And
Yeah.
then after he did the month, he said he wanted to go vegan. And I was like, wow, if you can go vegan after a month of vegetarian, and I've been vegetarian for 4 years, like let me try this. And yeah, never look back basically. So yeah.
You know what? I agree along the same lines as you as well. I feel like when I had first moved to Miami,
Yeah.
it for me it was my brother had gone vegan, and I'm like, oh, okay, if he can go vegan, I can
Exactly.
do it
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then he went back to becoming vegetarian, but
Mm,
for me, I was like, you know what? I I found dairy and most importantly, like cheese, of course,
mhm,
dairy, were the hardest to give up. But
mhm.
once
Yeah,
you
always. Yeah.
do that, like
Yeah.
you begin to feel, I felt better about myself
Yeah.
and the lifestyle. Um, I guess growing up for us religiously,
Mhm.
it was okay, no meat. Like we
Right, right,
were
right.
just
Yeah.
raised being vegetarian,
Yeah.
but then it just became a mindset to
Right.
follow too, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I was just like, "You know what? I choose to do it. It's my personal
Exactly.
belief too."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Love
that's
that.
when
Yeah.
right, kinda stemmed from there,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know if you got this as well. I remember at the time, I guess, veganism wasn't seen readily as, like, a thing, so when you
Right.
would go to a restaurant, like, would you call ahead and be like, "Hey, do you have any vegan
Oh yeah.
items?"
Even now I do, like, depending on where I'm going, even now I just check, like, just wanna make sure, you know what I mean? I feel like I mean, now it's so different, right?
So
Like,
different, yes.
there are sometimes, like, restaurants have a vegan menu now, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I definitely I definitely did that, or I mean, depending on the time when like, way back, I would, like, sometimes, like, eat something small first because I was like, "Just in case," you know what I mean? But I feel like I was always catered to, like, I never, like, starved anywhere, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel and then there's always that stigma, right? That's
Yeah.
behind, "Oh, like, all you eat is like a rabbit, just a salad," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like you and your website, since you've been blogging for 13 years now,
Yeah.
have, like, really built and established this community around what we can do as vegans to really elevate our dishes.
Mhm.
What motivated you to start your blog?
Yeah, so funny. I actually started as a baking blog. And I just like got into baking, and I literally remember like one day I just wanted to make like chocolate cupcakes at like 11 p.m. from scratch. They were awful because like you can't just magically do that right for the first time ever. But I got like really interested in the process of like baking from scratch. I think because I started with such like a precision, sorry, technique like baking, cooking actually was just easier. I love baking, but cooking is so like free flowing, So it kind of also came from there. And I actually started selling cakes, cupcakes, all of that, got like, certifications and all of that.
Mhm,
And I wanted to blog about it basically. I just wanted to keep like almost like a diary about what I was doing.
mhm.
And then I was like, well, let me share recipes too. So it kind of like started organically like that, basically. And funny, this would actually be year 15, which is insane to like, I'm like, what? Right? Like, right. I'm like, that what? But yeah, so it was just like a fun like journey along the way. And I think I just got like obsessed with it, like absolutely loved it, like all throughout law school, in the back on Pinterest, like everything. Like I was just like eat, breathe, sleep, like blogging basically, So it really just was like a full passion basically. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think I just wanted to keep getting better, keep doing like this course or that course, you know what I mean? So it's just been like that since then, basically.
And so what catapulted you to push that passion
Yeah.
for doing this on the blog to then making it your, like, full-time career?
Right. Yeah. So I did it for like a hobby for a while because I was in law school, you know what I mean? So I was in like university, still young. And then yeah, I think after a while, like I think my parents also saw how like much I loved it. And so like I had like their support, my husband's support to be like, do you want to like try this out as a business? I was making some money from it as well at that point, you know, a good amount. So I was like, okay, let me give this a try, right? It's scary. It's always going to be scary at first.
Yeah.
But I always like advise people like think ahead, you know what I mean? Like maybe like have like 6 months saved up of like your living expenses so that you don't feel like, you know, okay, I have to like have this fear I'm carrying alongside, you know, or do it scared, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of feel like that helped, you know, like that support to just let me start, you know, because when you have like people around that believe in you, that's always going to make a difference, you know what I mean? And then yeah, I just started basically at that point, like more full time and like just really seeing it as a business, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like properly incorporated, properly trademarked, like all the things basically that I had from the start, but like just making sure that no matter what, I was seeing it as a business as well. Still like, you know, a love for it. But I think that helps us mentally to make sure we're showing up with our checklist, with our to-do list, you know, filing our taxes, all the things basically. So yeah, that whole process kind of just helped me to like catapult into it basically. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and to push through the challenges, I
Mhm.
mean, were there how would you go about, managing the obstacles and
Yeah.
just kind of overcoming them and to the point now where, it's, like, established, like,
Yeah.
you
A
are
lot
at
of
a point where
failing.
you yeah.
Yeah, a lot of failing, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even it's funny, like, of course, no one wants to fail, but I kind of feel like nothing's a true failure unless, like, you can never, ever come back from it, you know?
Mhm.
So, it was just a lot of trying, a lot of failing, and just learning from that. Like, I realized that there's just no way to learn. You're always gonna be, like, scared or not know if you don't try, right? So, yeah, it was just literally that refining, like, kind of just getting, like I said, obsessed with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and there were sacrifices I made, right? Like just being honest, like maybe like not being able to attend this hangout or something, but
Mhm.
it didn't mean I sacrificed that friendship, just like this occasion. You know what I mean? So yeah, just that kind of drive, that kind of focus, and getting into the community as well helps because we know like blogging can be kind of lonely, right? If you don't have like a community, you know. So getting to know other bloggers, blogging groups, podcasts, you know what I mean? Like literally
Mhm.
like what you're doing right now, like what we're both doing, right? So yeah, like just kind of getting into the mindset of I'm in this industry. How can I keep learning, keep growing, you know? But it was like ebooks or like courses, just like that push, that drive, like having with myself, like whether it was like quarterly check-ins, you know what I mean? Setting up goals for the year. So kind of like
Mhm.
again, just like this is a full-fledged business, just ensuring I was treating it like one and just like always shooting for the stars, basically. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the mindset and the way that we need to go in order
Yeah.
to, like, really build a business for
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you recall your first recipe that you posted on the blog?
Yeah. So the first recipe I ever posted would have been a cake that I made for my ex's mom, actually. Yeah. Yeah. So it was her birthday. I made like a vanilla cake with pink butter cream frosting. I think like it was her
Mm,
favorite color or something. But yeah, you know, it was a good first post, right? So,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Nothing says love like cake,
Right?
seriously.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So I wanna, I guess, take you to the present now.
Yeah.
Becoming a mom,
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
that reshaped your approach to both cooking and recipe development?
So I would say yes and no. Yes, because time looks completely different now, right?
Yeah.
Like completely different. But no, in terms of like, I feel like I always try to like focus on like easy dinners, you know what I mean? Like approachable recipes. affordable, accessible,
Mhm.
because I always want to ensure like even wherever I was in the world, I could access it. So I really try to make sure most of the recipes on the site are like that as well. So I kind of just lean even more into that. I have gone through some of my older recipes, like my mac and cheese. I did it the other day and I was like, I was reading through my own steps and I was like, I'm not doing all of that. How can I make this recipe easier? I'm like, if I feel that way, I can definitely see like someone coming on and being like, wait, I have to take out my blender I was like, no, we're gonna find a way to make this easier. So I do that from time to time where I'm like, this has to be made easier. How can I shorten this like prep style, etc.? So I will do that sometimes though. Yeah.
I mean, totally, because I have a son as well, and so I'm
Yeah.
always thinking about easy
Yes.
dinners, like, let's get it on the table,
Yeah.
and a lot of what I do is and in my rotation is what's on your blog as
Yeah.
well, like, the Korean
Yeah.
tofu is by far my husband and I, we love it, and so,
Yeah.
like, trying to get my son into eating a little bit of spice, just, like,
Right.
kinda
Yeah. Yeah.
incorporate that into
Yeah.
his, like, palate,
Yeah.
um but no, he loved it, and we love
Oh.
it, and we that's one of our staples for sure. Which brings me to, I guess, exploring recipe testing for
Yeah.
you. How does it happen? How do you go about the whole process?
Yeah. Um, so it looks a little different now, right, than it used to. I
Yeah.
think now it's quote unquote easier because I try to take like the base of maybe like a previous recipe, like the tofu dishes. Like I'll keep like the tofu cooking method the same. Maybe I'll do like the sauce is different. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So having that base does help. Sometimes it's like, okay, I feel inspired because we ate out somewhere and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Or we traveled somewhere, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I need this version kind of thing. Um, Again, trying to lean into is it easy? Because not everything is going to be a 30-minute recipe, right? But if it's like an hour, is it that most of that time is in the oven? You know what I mean? Or most of the time it's hands off kind of thing. Yeah, trying to like if it has like you said, a lot of spices or a lot of seasonings in there, like making them make sense. You know what I mean? Like these are things
Mhm.
people may commonly have in their house, or like say I have something with something that maybe they won't. I'll like try and make sure there are other recipes on the site that they can use that in it as well. So yeah, right now it's just like what do I feel like making sometimes, the inspiration comes from everywhere basically. But yeah, it definitely gets easier after a while because it's funny, like especially now, like I'll have a baking idea and I will like try and guess the gram measurements for it and like sometimes I'm only like a little bit off, but I'm like, wow, you really have to like trust yourself and just realize you have that knowledge in your head now. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, you can figure this out because you've done four other or 500 other like this kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
It it's so true. And
Yeah.
how much of that comes into your community too? Do they ask, "Hey, can you veganize this?" Or, "Can you make something like this?"
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, how are the conversations like? What kind of feedback do you get?
Yeah, oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so especially like on Instagram, I have like, like the community chat. So like I ask tons of questions because I genuinely want to be able to help, right? I genuinely want to know that okay, this recipe is actually helping you. So I in my emails, I like specifically say, is there a recipe you want to veganize? If it's one on the site, I'll like reply, let them know, or like let me literally add this to a list, like someone asks for like Yorkshire pudding. So I'm like, I'll work on that. You know what I mean? But yeah, lots of feedback. A lot of the recipes, like say like the gochujang, right? My friend, she makes my recipes as well, and she told me she had made it with ginger and
Ooh.
so I added in ginger and I made sure I credited her. Like she's in the notes, credited like for like Shakti gave me this idea to add in ginger, thank you. So like I do that. Like I think my cinnamon rolls were inspired because someone made my Japanese milk bread as cinnamon rolls, made sure, so there are other stuff like that pop up. I was like, that's a great idea. Can I like credit you for this for this idea? And it's easy because I already have the recipe. But
Exactly.
let me just try it in a new way, kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of that does come from. It's a community. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
really is. It really is like, have you tried this idea? Have you tried that? Like like my tofu scramble. A lot of people say, have you tried like Holland mackinate? You know what I mean? So stuff like that where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. No, like I cannot make it without it. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do you find that you maybe set yourself apart from the other like vegan bloggers that are out there?
Yeah, I think I don't even know if I like went out with the intention of doing that or whether it was
Right.
just like being myself, like my
Yeah.
accent will always, no matter what, right? Or like just showing up as like authentically me, like I like anime. I like the, like just this is just who I am kind of thing. And that will inspire these dishes, like I love bright colors. So that will inspire like wanting to ensure like the videos are bright colors or the lighting is like this, that kind of approach. And everyone's gonna have their own approach. Some people have, dark and moody or whatever. But yeah, just like ensuring that like I can see me in the dishes as well, basically, and like in the photos and the videos, basically.
And how does it make you feel when they're sharing your recipes on their pages? Like that
Oh
must just
man, always
light up the
cool.
world.
Yeah. I feel bad that I don't get to reshare them, but sometimes I'm literally checking it with my daughter, like in my hand, right? But always cool to this day. Like whether it's like an email, whether it's like, my grandma is like diabetic and she can finally have pumpkin pie again because of years. I'm like, and I was always emotional. I'm a lot more emotional now as a mom, right? So it's like literally like tear jerking, you know what I mean? But it's always like so cool seeing like someone's interpretation, someone's version, being like, wow, that's insane. Basically, yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I get emotional too every time the dish
Yeah.
turns out perfect too, and I'm just like, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
oh, it's funny because knowing that I was gonna have you on this week, I made your scallop potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
They are my favorite.
Oh,
I
nice.
kid you
Thank
not,
you.
there's no leftovers. We have
Yeah.
to just eat them in one sitting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
so good.
You should try it if you like that. The Parmesan crusted potatoes, like my daughter devoured those. So like they're kid friendly for sure. And they have a little bit of spice. I know you're saying you're trying to like, introduce that for your son, but not too much, basically. Yeah.
I love that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, it's on my list. Jessica's on my list. I love it. I love it. So what is the day-to-day like for you when it comes to managing your website, being a mom? How do you juggle it all?
Yeah. Well, I definitely have a team now. That makes a huge difference. Yeah. So like I did have like a small team and still relatively small, but like prior to being pregnant and then when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I was like, okay, I want to make sure I have like a nice maternity leave, you know what I mean? And so I really said, okay, let me like plan this out so that I can do that. And I have like a team that's like really helping to like, do that. So that was like, even like that process was a lot of just like working ahead, but it makes such a difference now because I feel like, I can have that time with her. I'm still doing like work all day, but it doesn't look as like bulky as it used to, which I'm genuinely grateful for. And every time, sometimes you have a project, right? That's gonna look different, right? Trying to finish that up, but that support and like that team support really makes a difference. So yeah, that's what makes it possible. But like day to day, it's like anywhere from like checking the site, recipe testing, like videography. I do all like the videography myself. My assistant does editing now. Thank God, she makes such a difference. Yeah, with the editing. But it's kind of like having creative control, but also ensuring to like let go of it in areas that matters and like trusting your team. You know what I mean? Because I think like no matter what, not everything is gonna look the way we personally envision, but if it's like close, then that's good enough. You know what I mean? And sometimes it is exact. Sometimes I'm like typing with her and I'm exhausted and I don't know how, but she's reading the thoughts the way I meant them, not the typos that I'm typing, kind of thing. So you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean that like makes a big difference. And then like depending on the day, maybe like what we're doing right now, a podcast or an interview, um, breaking that up along the way from when my daughter comes home from school. Sometimes it looks like being on my phone and like editing like the newsletter for tomorrow, like on my mobile. So it's like it's still planned, I go through like with my planner and everything, like look ahead for the month and everything. But yeah, the day to day it does change every day, basically. Yeah.
I can only imagine. Do you get a time to like take some time for yourself, whether that be meditation or whether that be going out for a walk or
Yeah.
anything like that to kind of let's reset for a minute?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I do notice that that helps me,
Oh my gosh. Especially like
right?
when you said going out for a walk, like I feel like I have to be outside. Like even, I was telling him like getting over a cold right now, and it's like all the windows are open. Let's go outside. You know what I mean? Like we're driving today. Let's wind the windows down halfway. So I feel like being outside, like especially that outside air makes such a difference. Like, being in nature is like a big one for me. Exercise is important as well. So like whether it's walks or like Pilates, you know what I mean? Like a couple times a week. And I do try and find in the mornings, especially like time to meditate, or even if it's not like a full meditation, like at least a couple deep breaths and journaling. I've been like journaling a lot. It helps a lot with, especially right before bed or like in the morning with all the thoughts, you know what I mean? All the checklists, all the to-do lists, just kind of like putting everything down. So yeah, I really do try and get like those like grounding routines basically. And yeah.
I absolutely love that. I really want to pick up journaling
Yeah.
and get into I used to do it as a child, but then kind of went away, right? And
Same.
so
Yeah.
building those habits I find are so essential
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I think I kind of like finally let go of like for the journaling of it being like a perfect journal. I always used to journal only positive things. So I realized that's not necessarily helping me. Like I have to journal what's actually on my mind. Sometimes I will like journal, oh, this pen is skipping out on me, like literally. And it just helps because you really feel like you're getting your thoughts out,
Mm.
and I try to set like a 15-minute timer and just like get it out, because we may not have more than 50 minutes to journal, right? But if it's like in the night, that I do have some more time at that point. But I did find kind of just like that forced start helped to kind of jump, because I used to journal as a kid as well. So that kind of
Yeah,
just helped to like, yeah, restart it basically. Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to at night as well, because
Yeah.
I find that I have so many thoughts in my head
My
too,
gosh. Yeah.
and I just want to sleep. And I'm like,
Yeah.
brain, just can you just shut down for a
Yeah.
second? Like,
Yeah.
can you close my
Yeah.
eyes?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so I know you briefly talked about um, someone who's like really enjoyed your recipes, being diabetic, and how you were able to offer um, that suggestion for change for them. Is there another story that kind of stands out for you of one of your someone from your community who's been able to really be inspired and love what they've been able to make from your dishes?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a super specific one. But I think like just generally, like it is a lot of like this helped my family feel included. Like, like someone messaged me and they're like, my daughter-in-law is vegan, and thank you, because I feel like I can actually include her, or like a mom message and she was like, her daughter is vegetarian. Was that a vegetarian or vegan? I don't remember, but she has swim class and she's trying to think of like some recipe ideas that, are cold friendly basically, but like filling for a child this age. So like I was like emailing with her just like all the ideas, like this is what I have in my mind, like stuff like that, and me trying to like ensure, okay, oh by the way, maybe you can remove this spice, that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
love like the direct emails, or like even like sometimes when people leave like comments, I will like try and email them back, because I'm like, we can get into a better conversation this way. So it's always so cool because you're like, wow, like this is why you do it, right? To like help people. So really seeing that like feedback is so helpful always.
That's oh, that's amazing. That is the
Yeah,
best too, and,
yeah,
like, I guess that helps the person as well, being like, "Ah, yes, for
yeah,
sure."
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
I know when I go to a relative's house or to a friend's place and they're
yeah,
just like, "Pile, like, what can I really offer you?" But they try, and
yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
yeah, having
Yeah,
the ability to, share what you do with them
exactly.
as well definitely
Exactly.
helps for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yay. Okay, so I love this moment. Now I get to have some fun and we get to ask some fun questions.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, okay, what are 3 ingredients that you cannot live without? right now in your kitchen?
Okay. Nutritional yeast. I'm like having a moment with that. Like I'm adding it into everything. Like I think I always have. My husband always jokes about um we have to have nutritional yeast in the house because I'm like, is does the recipe have this yet? Basically, yeah. I think tofu as well, like especially like I've been using super firm tofu, just like for its like protein content, and just the texture. Um, and a third ingredient. I feel like maybe like right now, lemons. We're actually growing a lemon tree now. It's not producing yet. It did, and then like our crows kind of like attacked it, so it's now protected in like a mesh. But so for now, we're still buying lemons. But I feel like I just love lemons. I love like that, the buttermilk effect. You'll have in like soy milk, or just like a squeeze of it over this dish or so. So yeah, those would be like my three that are like top. What about you, actually?
Okay, love them.
Yeah,
I also like tofu. I'm
yeah,
having like I love tofu.
yeah,
I'm potato obsessed, so always need them
yeah,
in my kitchen.
yeah.
Um, I would say, you know what? Onions too.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah,
I grew up not liking onions, and now
yeah.
I like love
Everything.
them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But do you like the purple ones or the sweet ones or the yellow ones? Like, is there a specific one that you
You know,
enjoy more than the
so
other?
you know what's so funny? I did not realize, it sounds insane, that sweet onions were literally sweet. Like, I don't know why. I took a bite of it raw. I was like, this is sweet. I think my daughter was gonna do it. And then I was like, wait, baby, I don't know if you want to. Then she took a bite. Then she didn't like react. So I took a bite. I was like, wait, these are sweet. So just like you saying that, but I do love the purple red ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just for color as well. I love pickling them as well, but I love them like flavor wise as well. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes, you're so right. I try to be more diligent about pickling them
Yeah,
too
yeah.
because I love the texture when it's
Yes.
pickled.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Pickled anything, I'm here for it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What recipe on your site do you think everyone should try once? First,
I
first,
I
should
would
try first.
say, oh yeah, I would say the chickpea curry. Because honestly, like it literally came out of us coming back from a trip with nothing in the house. So it's a real pantry ingredient recipe, right? Like truly. And I get like so much feedback from like busy moms or like college students that like this is budget friendly as well, accessible, and they're like, oh, I could actually make this in my dorm on my stovetop. You know what I mean? Or like the mom is like, I could actually make this with my kids. So I would feel like that's the one. Like if you can have it, like I have a non-recipe as well, but if you like can't make that, obviously, buy it. If not, like rice, it tastes great with that. It can take like leftover veggies, you have some like leftover like green beans or like potatoes, you know what I mean? So yeah, that I would recommend that one for sure.
That sounds so yummy.
Yeah.
I might have to make that.
Yeah.
What are some exciting projects or dreams that you are currently working on right now?
Honestly, I mean, right now I feel like I'm just trying to like get more into my community, like like projects around that. So like I started doing like a free weekly meal plan, and like I really enjoyed doing that because I feel like people are really loving it, you know what I mean? So kind of just like trying to embrace the community that's here, embrace the readers that are here. What can I do around that basically? Focusing on what I'm focusing on. So yeah, kind of just like digging deeper basically. Yeah.
I love your meal plans as well because you just as you mentioned as well, when it comes to affordability, I mean, groceries are so expensive these
Yes.
days as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly, we're trying to just find simple ingredients
Right.
that
Exactly.
will
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. And what advice would you give someone hoping to turn their love for food into this fulfilling
Yeah.
creative business?
Yeah, I mean, first I would say like, like good luck. It's like an amazing journey. I would say to kind of just realize that it takes time, like not necessarily 15 years time, because like half of that time I was like in university. I was doing it on and off, you know what I mean? But like I feel like a lot of us, me included, like kind of quote unquote suffer sometimes from like an instant gratification want, and it's gonna take some time. I would definitely say like make like a realistic 1 year plan, of I have my business plan. These are my like thoughts, my projections, my goals. So you kind of like train yourself in that mindset. And I would just say, like, yeah, trust in the process and being honest with yourself about it, because as you know, if you do this only for the money, it's not going to work out. Like, you have to
Mhm.
have that true drive, passion, behind it. So yeah, that would be my advice for it, for sure.
And where can everyone follow you? On
Yeah,
all socials?
all socials, justinakitchen.com. You'll find all my recipes. You can sign up for like the free weekly meal plans as well. YouTube, I'm also like, I've been posting long form videos and vlogs. I'm loving it. That's Jessica in the Kitchen recipes, I think it is. But if you type in Jessica in the Kitchen, it'll come up. Instagram, Jessica in the Kitchen. Facebook, Jessica in the Kitchen. Yeah, Pinterest as well. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Jessica, thank you
of
so
course.
much for
Thank
joining
you. I
us
love this.
today. You're awesome.
Thank you
Well,
for
can't wait to
inviting
make
me.
a recipe now.
Yeah.
I hope Jessica's story left you feeling inspired and maybe a little bit hungry in the best way possible, and reminded you that food can be one of the most powerful forms of connection, creativity, and care. If you loved what you heard, be sure to check out jessicainthekitchen.com. Whether you're vegan, veg curious, or just looking to add more flavor to your life, you'll find over 600 recipes, beautiful photography, and a whole lot of heart. If this episode sparked something in you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone you love. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.